100 non-governmental organizations have sounded the alarm about mass starvation in Gaza.
Trump announced a new trade framework with Japan that will impose a 15% tariff on Japanese imports, easing back from a previously threatened 25% levy.
More than 100 non-governmental organizations have sounded the alarm about mass starvation in Gaza in a joint statement. Prominent NGOs like Doctors Without Borders, Amnesty International and Oxfam warned that they witnessed their own colleagues and partners, quote, waste before their eyes. They are once again calling for an immediate ceasefire, the opening of all crossings, and the free flow of humanitarian aid. The statement comes exactly 2 months since the launch of the controversial US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The UN Human Rights Office said that since May, more than 1,000 Palestinians trying to access food and aid in Gaza have been killed by Israeli forces, mostly near aid sites run by the GHF. Later this week, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is set to travel to Europe to discuss a range of issues, including Gaza and the push for a ceasefire. Witkoff will also travel to the Middle East, where he is hopeful to come forward with a ceasefire agreement and the establishment of a humanitarian corridor.
The World Health Organization has condemned what it called a blatant attack on its facilities and staff in the central city of Deir al-Balah in Gaza. The organization says Israeli forces attacked its main warehouse and the residences of staff, causing extensive damage. It added that its response capabilities to humanitarian crises were also severely reduced. The warehouse, storing everything from medical supplies to clothing, was bombed in the early hours of Tuesday and then looted by desperate locals, according to the WHO. The staff residents and the families living there were subjected to 3 separate attacks, one which caused a fire as well as structural damage to the building. Israeli forces stormed the building during the shelling, forcing women and children to leave on foot towards Al-Mawasi, which Israel designated a safe haven on Sunday. It comes as Israel carries out what it described as a major ground operation in the city. It's the first time the IDF conducts an operation on the central city, noting previously that they've avoided it as they believe Hamas may be harboring hostages there. Deir al-Balah is one of the last remaining areas in the enclave to still be standing, having suffered minimal damage so far in Israel's 21-month offensive. Dozens were killed in Israeli attacks on the city in the past 48 hours, and hundreds of thousands were forcibly displaced.
US President Donald Trump announced a new trade framework with Japan that will impose a 15% tariff on Japanese imports, easing back from a previously threatened 25% levy. Under the new agreement, Trump said Japan would invest $550 billion in the US and open its economy to US rice and cars. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba welcomed the deal and said it would benefit both nations while strengthening bilateral cooperation.
私とトランプ大統領との間で今般の合意の実施に努めるとともに、経済のみならず、あらゆる分野での日米関係をさらに発展をさせ、自由で開かれたインド太平洋の実現に向けて、さらに取り組んでまいります。
Ishiba's ruling coalition had failed in a recent election to secure a majority, but he said he would stay in office to avoid creating a political vacuum and to deal with the tariffs. Key details of the new deal remain unclear, including whether Japanese-made cars would still be subject to the 25% tariff Trump has announced for the automobile sector.
În caz de război ceva, adică ar trebui să știm ce trebuie să facem.
Chiar mi-ar plăcea un pic de mișcare în plus, un pic de activitate, dar și mai serioasă. Adică până la urmă nu e ca și cum te duci la joacă cu băieții.
Media sau vârsta acestor rezerviști, putem spune că este destul de nu înaintată, de undeva în jur de 48-50 de ani. Bun, și proiectul care este pe circuitul de avizare acum vizează aducerea unui număr semnificativ de rezerviști.
The law draft provides for a 4-month military training during which the young volunteers are paid like active military personnel, and at the end they also receive an allowance of almost 2,500 euros.
Thousands rallied in Kyiv on Tuesday, urging Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to veto a bill critics say would cripple Ukraine's anti-corruption infrastructure. The parliament had passed a controversial bill tightening oversight of two key anti-corruption bodies. Critics warned the measure could weaken the independence of the agencies and increase political influence over investigations. Despite public outcry, Zelensky reportedly signed the bill into law.
Ми повинні робити все, щоб наша Україна була ціла і вільна, і незалежна. І ми повинні підтримувати військо всіма методами, а це один з них. Об'єднуватися і боротися проти корупції. І безпосередньо це великий важіль, завдяки якому Європа підтримуватиме нас.
Transparency International criticised the news, saying it undermines past reform and damages trust with international partners.
Важливо боротися з корупцією, щоб більше грошей йшло на ЗСУ, на нашу армію. Чим більше буде ефективно держава використовувати наші ресурси і буде менше корупції, тим більше ми можемо направляти ресурси на наш захист і на нашу боротьбу.
Натомість ми бачимо, як президент України замість того, щоб бути прикладом, бути локомотивом цієї історії боротьби і демонструвати нульову толерантність до корупції, зараз використовує свій владний ресурс для того, щоб взяти контроль над кримінальними провадженнями свого оточення.
Fighting corruption is a key condition for Ukraine's bid to join the European Union and to secure continued Western support as it defends against Russia's ongoing full-scale invasion.
A firefighting helicopter crashed into the Gulf of Elefsina with all 3 people on board rescued from the water, according to local officials. A search and rescue operation was launched after authorities were alerted that the aircraft had gone down at sea. The occupants crashed while attempting to collect water to fight a fire near Athens. They were taken by ambulance to a local hospital. No information was immediately available on their condition. Authorities launched an investigation into the cause of the crash.
To sign or not to sign the EU Code of Practice on Artificial Intelligence, this is the question that the web giants are asking themselves. OpenAI and Microsoft have already announced their intention to sign it. On the other hand, Meta is the only one to have announced it would not do so. One of its leaders said on social media that Europe is heading down the wrong path with regards to AI and pointed out legal uncertainties for model developers. Experts are not surprised.
There is no doubt that the success of the Code of Practice will be counted on how much participation and goodwill from the industry there is. So there is no doubt about that. And Meta, as a large player and very ambitious player, as we discussed, trying to really compete in the US and globally with other AI hyperscalers, it definitely is a blow, considering how fast they were in making that decision and making it public.
This kind of compass aims to help AI model providers comply with the new European laws on artificial intelligence that will enter into force in August. The rules concern transparency, copyright, and security. For example, companies committing to not develop AI models with stolen data. The European Commission has ensured that Meta will still have to comply with EU law on AI.
Signing the Code of Practice is voluntary. What will, however, not be voluntary for Meta is to be compliant with the AI Act by the 2nd of August. This will be an obligation.
Other companies like Google and Amazon have not yet declared if they would sign the code or not. Heavy metal legend Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76, just weeks after his farewell concert at the Black Sabbath reunion in Birmingham. Osbourne was the lead singer of Black Sabbath, a band that redefined 20th century music with songs like Paranoid, Iron Man, and War Pigs.
The Prince of Darkness, he was an institution, the founder of heavy metal, in my opinion. He introduced it to me as a teenager. So it's a sad day, and I had the honor of meeting the family as well. I'm very sad for Sharon and the family.
Osbourne's fame expanded into the mainstream in the early 2000s when he joined his wife Sharon Osbourne and two of their children in the MTV reality TV show, The Osbournes.
Not only was it one of the first of its kind, it kind of pioneered the genre, in my opinion. You know, it was before social media, so like the access we had to celebrities and people like Ozzy Osbourne was very limited.
We had no idea what we were getting. We thought it was just going to be an extension of Cribs. And so when it came out, we were all absolutely flabbergasted at the response.
Osbourne's family announced his death in a statement, saying he passed away peacefully. In 2020, the singer had announced he had Parkinson's disease after suffering a fall.